This is Gene Adam, former lead singer of Iced Earth. Be sure to subscribe to Podcast and Stone, and don't forget, join our community on social media. Metal lives.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, welcome to Podcast in Stone, the only podcast dedicated to iced motherfucking earth, and the only podcast approved by John, the Master of Gallop, Schaefer. Welcome everybody.
Welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Today we are talking about a very special record in the Iced Earth catalogue, a record that means so much to me, and I know, Chuck, it means quite a lot to you as well. Something Wicked, This Way Comes, Iced Earth's fifth record, came out in 1998. But first, we just want to say to everybody that has supported our podcast up until this point, be it whether you've watched one episode, follow the link and just looked at our page, or joined our page, or subscribed to the channel, or watched all the videos, no matter how minor a detail that you've done to support our channel, we appreciate every one of you. We couldn't be happier, man. The journey's been incredible, and the journey is nowhere near over.
Absolutely. For those who have enjoyed our YouTube clips and commented and watched and subscribed, and everybody who enjoys our Facebook page with us and shares pictures and tattoo pictures and what song do you like better and everything, it's a joy, and it's thanks to all the new subscribers we have and everybody that's new to the group. We really enjoy having you. It's definitely been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, man. And John Schaefer, sir, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for everything you've done to help our podcast. Thank you for giving us 3 hours of your time to talk just in depth about the band and the history. It was incredible. It was so much fun to us to hear the stories you have to tell. And thank you so much for sharing our page out to the world of Iced Earth fans. That means so much to us.
Absolutely, yes. John was incredible, kind to give us that amount of time. And for those who might wonder, have you guys done all you could do? There's a lot more to come. Stay tuned, for sure. We're just getting started. Getting started. Something Wicked is probably in the Iced Earth catalog and my overall albums was my favorite album for about a good 6 years. It's just non-stop greatness. Tempo changes as far as the fast to the mid-tempo to some two great ballads on there. It's just a well-rounded machine that should be even if you're just a casual metal fan, that's easily one of the top 10 metal albums ever.
For me, it is my favorite album of all time, bar none. It is for me the greatest piece of music ever written. It's a record for me that I feel that the band kind of has taken everything they've done previously, learnt from what they've done, and basically took all that experience to this record and really made something extremely special. I have no negative for this album. This album is perfection. Every song is fantastic. The instrumental on there is great. I love this album to the point where I can't find the words to do it justice. Do you know what I mean? It's perfect.
Totally.
It is absolutely perfect. And we're going to delve into the personnel who made this perfect album. This was the first album where Iced Earth was officially a three-piece. You have Matt Barlow on vocals, John Schaefer on guitar, and James McDoug on bass guitar. They did hire in some additional musicians. You had Howard Helm on piano. We're going to talk about that piano later. Roger Hughes on mandolin. Tracy Mary LaBarbera on backing vocals, Susan McQuinn on flute, we're going to talk about that flute later, Jim Morris on keyboards, backing vocals and lead guitar, Mark Prater on drums, and Larry Tarnowski on lead guitar, except for track 4. So yeah, quite a lot of names for a 3-piece band.
Yeah, it was the intro to Larry Tarnowski into the band also. I think he became an official member during the tour or shortly after the album came out.
Probably my, for his ability alone, he's probably my favourite lead guitarist that has been in the band. And I discovered him via the Live in Athens live album. So
Live in Athens.
Yeah, his lead work on just that's the thing. You have lead work on a record, but when you hear that lead work live and it sounds incredible, then you've got a good member there. And I think Larry Tarnowski's lead work is faithful to what they were on, especially like the old stuff. They were faithful to the old stuff, but also had his own little kind of flair onto them. And I just think he's a fucking fantastic lead guitarist. Yeah, personnel. That's right. Yeah, this album introduces one of the coolest figureheads for any band. Who is that, Chuck? Who am I speaking of?
That would be Set Abominae, the man himself. Yeah, he's the cover for this album is just intense. You just see it and it just screams out metal. I mean, before you even hear it. The Set character is something that's been on every album cover since then, except for Glorious Burden. And it's funny, I couldn't imagine a CD without him now being on the cover.
I look forward.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying it would be weird to not have him.
Yeah.
You look forward to what?
I look forward to every new album art reveal just to see how cool Set looks on it.
Right. Absolutely. I remember when John announced that the Incorruptible pictures were coming out soon, and that there was 10 possible covers that they could use, that the artwork was that great. I was so excited, and he was right. Their artists are always spot on.
Without doubt. If you don't include the Century Media redones, I don't really like those redone artwork, but the original covers, hell, even the Glorious Burden, that painting that John chose is still a great painting. Not that I'm really one versed in American history, but just that painting's really cool. I think John's got an eye for art, be it for music or actual paintings or whatever. But yeah, Set Abominae has adorned covers since, and even the story of Set has kind of just found its way into later albums as well. Being a part of the Dystopia album and being part of the Plagues of Babylon, but also we know there's been a big part of the Framing Armageddon and Crucible Man albums chronicling his whole story. But it all began here, Chuck. It all began with Something Wicked This Way Comes, with the Something Wicked trilogy, consisting of Prophecy, Birth of the Wicked, and The Coming Curse. What's a trilogy that was?
I remember I was lucky enough to see the Something Wicked tour 2 times in my city.
I hate
and the first time I met John was on the Something Wicked tour, and I remember, God, I was so young back then, just telling him how that trilogy affected me and how that's what I listened to every day when I got ready for work. That was my shower. That was my ritual, as I get up for work and I listen to the trilogy. And I mean, that one, Burning Times, struck me immediately, but that trilogy was just, I knew there was something special about that right away. I've probably listened to that more than anything in the world, probably, that trilogy. And it ages well, too. It's not like some songs you'd be like, oh, I'm so sick of that song. It's aged so well. This entire album has.
Yeah, like it's hell. Like even the production, it still sounds modern with its production. It
Hmm.
sounds huge, and like I was listening to the vinyl the other day in preparation for this. It just fucking just punches you in the face as soon as it kicks in with Burning Times, and it's just that's the thing. Like it's really interesting when I posted that discussion on the page where what song does people feel defines the band, and my choice was always Burning Times, because I feel Burning Times has got it consists of everything that really kind of equates to what Iced Earth is. It has the fucking massive riffs, it has the hooks, it has obviously Matt Barlow's amazing vocal talents, and it's not overly ambitious like say Dante's Inferno was, which is a fantastic song and really shows off what they can do when they really want to write an epic. But when you go to like a more kind of contained song like Burning Times, I think it has everything there that really shows off what the band can do, and it's always been a song that I've shown people that are unfamiliar with the band. They go, oh, who are Iced Earth? And I was like, have a listen to this, sir, and you will know.
Right. I have kind of a playlist that I've given a few people of that are unfamiliar with it but love heavy metal, and Burning Times is always on there. Also with like Dracula and Pure Evil and stuff. But it's definitely a defining song. It's one of those songs that is just a fantastic opening song live. Also, it just and it's also a great second song too, because over the past few years they've done the new song, which is always good. But then when people hear that intro to the Burning Times, the crowd goes crazy. I couldn't imagine a show without it.
Oh yeah, like I think it's become a staple. But I don't know this for a fact, but I do feel like John has a special. He must have a special tie to that song, because it's always there's one. If there was one song, I would say we're guaranteed to hear this. It would be Burning Times when it comes to their live shows. But
And
over the course of the last few albums of Stu, they've delved into this album quite often. Chuck, bringing out deep cuts like Blessed Are You and Melancholy. Watching Over Me's a given most of the time.
right.
Hell, like just recently, I think when I saw them on the MTV's Headbangers Ball in December 2016, they played Disciples of a Lie, and I was like, holy fuck, Yeah, I think they're really delving into this album more. Like,
This is a song. This is definitely one of those albums where I could see them doing like a 20th anniversary or something down the line where they did the entire album.
they need to. For me,
I'd love it.
I tell you what, man. Like, I love this album so much to the point where, like, we'll be lining up for the show, for a show and stuff, and people will be discussing the set list and that. And I'm just like, if I said, I don't really care about the set list as long as they play anything off of Something Wicked, be it Burning Times, Melancholy. They could play 3 songs from Something Wicked, and I'll be happy.
Right.
I've yet to hear the trilogy live yet, which kind of upsets me. But I'm hoping they'll bring that back for this tour. That'd be really cool to hear Stu knock those out. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Stu's interpretation of them for sure.
Yeah, it's just I just find this album to be timeless. It just hasn't aged. It's as good as it was when I first heard it back in 2002. Till 15 years later, it just sounds as fresh and as awesome.
I think they picked I think they picked a good album to also do their first live album off of, because I mean, to me, everything lined up with this. I mean, Dark Saga was a step up from Burnt Offerings for me, and this even was a slight jump from Dark Saga, and for them to bust out the greatest live album of all time, Alive in Athens, at this time period, it was. I mean, they sounded great on the old stuff, but they definitely showcased that new stuff, and it was fresh. The cover was amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, you chuck in disc one of that live in Athens, and it's just like, you got the crowd going, oh, it's tough, oh, it's tough. And it just kicked into it. It just absolutely kicks the doors in and actually thrusts straight into Burning Times, and how it's like it just sounds so big. They were able to capture the size and the feel and the vibe of that album live so well on that live album that it's just, they really done a good job on that stuff live. They still do a good job on that stuff live. I was really happy to hear Blessed Are You and Disciples of a Lie with Stu. I think he's done a great job on those songs. And
Right.
yeah.
Well, I remember when on the Dystopia tour, I did a good job of staying. I'm very bad about checking out the set list and everything, and checking out little YouTube clips. But I hadn't heard Stu do anything, and I didn't see the set list. And when I heard him do, the Matt stuff, and I just knew that I was like, this is our guy. I was so happy, when Burning Times came on, and he just nailed it. So, but Alive in Athens is good stuff. I can't wait for the new vinyl release. I hope that's coming soon.
I hope I hope they put that out. That'd be cool. What was I gonna say? Let's talk about
Track by track.
No, we could talk about like critical reception of the time.
Oh yes.
It's probably going to be me disagreeing with people, but whatever. Yeah, according to Wikipedia, the best place to find information. Not.
Is that Wickedpedia?
Oh, pun. Oh no, you went there, Chuck. You fucking went there. Anyway, according to Wikipedia, critical reception since its release, Something Wicked This Way Comes has had a polarised reaction from critics. Some view the album as one of Iced Earth's strongest. It is. While others have considered it one of their weakest. Well, they're entitled to their opinion, but that opinion is wrong.
Wrong.
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Metal Storm, whoever they are, gave the album 9.5 out of 10 and called it the most important release of Iced Earth, as well as a must-have. I agree. On the other hand, Chronicles of Chaos, who the fuck are they, called the album tried, tested and tired. Again, they're entitled to their opinion, but they are wrong. They are incorrect. So yeah, polarizing.
How is
views.
this album tired in any way?
What the fuck is they talking about? If you ask me.
My only thoughts of that is they've got to think that just because it's not 100 miles an hour every second, I mean, there's bands that do that. I mean, if you want that every song, check out Slayer's new album. But I mean, that's not the case.
You've just pissed off an army of Slayer fans right there.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there's certain, I hate to use the word recipes, but I mean, Iced Earth is not always about the gallop is huge, but it's not every song, every second.
There's variety.
And I think it's a perfect mixture.
That's what
I like. I mean, everybody's got to.
That's what I like about this album is that it juggles the heavy with the kind of like melancholy soft stuff, not soft because those
melancholy
songs,
pun.
No, yeah, but like I don't mean soft. I mean those songs have their heavy moments, but this album kind of juggles really in your face heaviness with songs that kind of let you breathe a little bit,
Right.
And yeah, like if people deny the creativity and the diversity of this album, then they're just incorrect in my opinion. I don't care how, I know I know we're trying to we try to promote there's no wrong answer on the group and stuff like that, but I'm just being a biased asshole, and this is my favourite album of all time, so any opinion that is not my own on this album in particular is incorrect to me, because I love this album too much. So I do apologise everybody for being an asshole. So, but this album is one of probably the dearest album to my heart, that's ever been put out. I can't. Obviously, no one's heard every musical release that's ever been put out ever, but out of everything that I've heard, especially in metal, this is the greatest album ever made, in my opinion. And that's the thing. That's what you were saying. It's a mixture of vibes and different sounds. It's just we can talk about the Coming Curse and how that piano intro is incredible, and how it slowly builds. It slowly swells just to that massive, just gallopy riff, and just kicks off there, man. It's still gives me goosebumps, man. And the only thing that disappoints me is that I'm looking forward to hearing that song live, but they don't play the piano part from what I've seen anymore, which is sacrilege, because that's part of the song.
But when it's live and happening though, it's gonna still sound amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm still gonna lose
the piano is just huge in it though. It definitely defines that he nailed the songwriting on that one, for sure.
I've always wondered if John ever wrote that on guitar before translating it to piano. It's possible.
We'll have to ask him on episode 4 with John Schaefer. That's a good question. That's a good question.
But yeah,
But you talk.
Yeah, go on.
I wish more people, and I always wished that Iced Earth was bigger, but I wish that more people had access to this. Every time I go to a metal concert, no matter who it is, I always wear an Iced Earth shirt, and I always have CDRs. For anybody that comes up to me and says, and I always get at least once at a concert, who's Iced Earth? I've heard about them. And I'm like, first of all, here's your free CD. Check it out. It's got Burning Times on it. But I wish there was a bigger, avenue for more people to discover this album.
Now,
because it's fantastic.
When you say about you wished Iced Earth was bigger, I've got a really kind of weird opinion for that. Yeah, they don't get enough recognition that they dearly deserve, in my opinion. But I quite enjoy the fact that they're not massive, because it's kind of it makes them more my little special thing, if that makes sense.
Right.
They're not massive mainstream, like say Slipknot, who are one of the biggest bands in metal currently in 2017. They're not a Metallica, they're not a Slipknot, they're not a Maiden in terms of these bands, their popularity and size. But I think that the fact they're a smaller band in terms of their popularity makes them more special to me, because they're never been overplayed on the radio. People don't talk about them too much, which is a shame, because I feel they deserve more. Just more. See, do you know what I mean? Where it's a bit, I've got a weird opinion where, yeah, they deserve more recognition, but they kind of, being a smaller band, they kind of makes them a bit more special, because they're not many people know who they are in metal. They should know who they are, but they don't. But
we're working on it.
But saying that, man, since Dystopia, the band's exploded in popularity since Dystopia. Because I think the tour that I went on, the first Dystopia tour gig that I went to was sold out, and on the Plagues tour that was sold out as well. So they're making strides. They're making, but then again, they play small venues, so that's probably why. That's another thing why I like a band being small, is small venues. I hate big venues. So
there's definitely an intimacy to a small venue.
Oh yeah,
the sound is better, and I've been to see people where you're way back in the back, and it's, I mean, you enjoy the concert, but it's not the same as being up close and intimate. And,
It's like I was thinking of going to see, because Metallica played here last week. They played in London, and I was thinking of going. I was like, oh, I don't mind going to see Metallica, but they wanted £90 for a ticket, and it was at the the O2 in London, one of our most popular, biggest venues in London. Imagine paying $100 to see a band, and all you see is little ants on stage. That's how far away I would be.
mm-hmm.
It'd be, I don't want that. When I go to a gig, I want to be as close as you're gonna get, and have a quality time. And all the gigs that I've been to with Iced Earth have always been small venues, and it's always been intimate, and that's always killer for fans like us, you know.
Right.
But anyway,
But
Something Wicked is a masterpiece of metal goodness. Fucking yes. And yeah, so yeah, the album got kind of mixed reviews when it came out. But you know, the negative reviews are incorrect. Do you know what I mean? So
yes, they are. We're not saying all reviews are wrong, but that one is.
tired, tried, and what the fuck? Like, what the actual?
Did he even listen to My Own Saviour? You know, did he hear Stand Alone? How are those tired?
It's all
tired.
It's all amazing. Now, I just wanna talk about the infamous, because it is infamous, the Overture of the Wicked re-recordings of the Something Wicked trilogy. This has got to be, for me, the worst mistake the band has ever done, because it's awful. It's overproduced. It's the changes that were made. I didn't like the changes that were made, and it just sounds very sterile. And they took the piano out of Coming Curse, which pissed me off. So
yeah,
I really
to
don't
me,
like this.
I remember hearing it at a time, you know, where I was like, you know, the Something Wicked trilogy is so important to me and personal to me. And then when I remember, I was afraid to put it in, and I didn't mind Tim's vocals on it. Like you said, it was the arrangement in it. I think they totally messed with the arrangement in the wrong way. If they would have done like Days of Purgatory and just thrown him on top of the other tracks, I think it would have been better. To me, the changes they made were not positive.
The only positivities that I have for those, I think whoever done those solos is very good at what he does. I think it might have been Tim Mills who done the solos for that, and I really like his guitar tone, so I really quite enjoy the solos on that, on those re-recordings. But aside from that, yeah, Tim is fine on them, but he's no Matt. When it comes to like, I just feel that, you know, I don't want to compare people because we're going to, but I don't want to. But obviously, it's the nature of the beast, man. You know what I mean? But like Matt and Tim, as singers, they are on vastly opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You have Matt Barlow, who's a kind of got a baritone, very soulful voice, whereas you've got Tim Owens, who's got a very falsetto voice. And when you get a falsetto singer to sing stuff originally sung by a baritone singer, it's gonna sound a bit strange, and that's why maybe it's mixed and mastered the way it is. Maybe it's produced the way it is to really try to make Tim's vocals kind of work. That's the only way I can think of it, because I just don't think, you know, that's all I can think about when I think of Tim as a singer on the Iced Earth, especially on the older Iced Earth material. He's fine. He's not bad. He's not good. He's fine. You know, yeah, it's alright. It's fine. And that's all I have to say about this re-recording. Is that it's, you know, I don't like the new arrangements. I think it's overproduced. The production just sounds sterile, and Tim is just okay. Nothing amazing there.
I love the cover. The artwork is great.
We were just saying earlier, without a doubt, they always get the. I just like the fact that it's set in like a sandstorm, what looks like a sandstorm. It's really cool. I do have
love the artwork.
I do have a jewel case version that has really odd extra tracks on it.
Track selection.
It makes no sense at all. Because you've got the original 4 tracks on there, but you've got Cast in Stone with Matt. It's weird. Storm Rider Live, Transylvania, Green Face, When the Eagle Cries Unplugged, and Star Spangled Banner. Now this is a Japanese import, so I don't know whether these are the first time those Japanese fans are hearing those specific kind of bonus tracks, but they're very strange.
Yeah, that's a weird bag of tricks for that one.
But because it had extra tracks, I had to own it because it's somewhat a unique release of this. So
that's on my wish list for sure. I need to get the jewel case for that.
Did you want to talk about the Melancholy EP for a sec?
Yes, the Melancholy EP. This came out about a year after the Something Wicked album, and it was originally done as a Century Media ploy to get some radio attention, so that they got more of kind of the slower ballady, radio-friendly songs on there with a few covers. And I thought the covers that they did, well, the one, The Ripper, was already done for the Judas Priest tribute album. I forget the name of that one. And but the 2 new covers I like a lot. I was actually lucky enough to, I think it was the first Something Wicked show that I saw live. They closed out with the Electric Funeral.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's nice to hear that live.
And another interesting fact for this release is that it features a Live in Athens version of Colours, which was missing from Live in Athens.
Yeah, that was.
Which you told me they added back in on the Save to the Dark box set.
Yes.
Which I need to go and check that because I didn't actually realise that.
Yeah, because with the Slave of the Dark set, they didn't include the Melancholy EP, so they put Shooting Star and Electric Funeral and The Ripper on. Actually, the Something Wicked is the extra tracks on Something Wicked.
Right here,
and then
Slave to the Dark version.
Yeah.
As you can see, if it will focus, please focus. Is that focusing?
Close enough, yeah. I can see. I can read it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the Slave to the Dark version.
Actually, I enjoy The Ripper the most of those 3 songs. I think they just nailed that one. But as not being just a casual Judas Priest fan, I hadn't heard that over and over. So when I hear The Ripper, I think of it as an Iced Earth song, not a Priest song.
See, I always feel when I look at this release, I always feel like it's their kind of ballads kind of release, like it's their oh yeah, they released an EP with their ballads because it's got all their softer songs on it. It's got, if you don't include Colours, it's got Melancholy, it's a soft song. Watching Over Me, it's a ballad, and I Died For You. It's got 3 of their biggest ballads on here.
Right.
Of their originals.
They could have easily put Last December on there too.
Yeah, this could have.
That kind of fits into that whole theme.
Yeah, this could have easily been like a ballad kind of EP, and that's the thing I wanna. If we ever have John on again, which I'm sure we will, because he's told us to stay in touch and he'll come back on again, I want to ask him, would you ever release a... Thing is though, it wouldn't be up to John, it'd be up to Century Media. That's the thing I would like to see, like a ballad collection, Watching Over Me, Melancholy, Consequences, If I Could See You Now, The Clouding. A lot of these kind of softer end songs. I think that would really be a really cool collection.
Well, I know I've mentioned it and you differ on my opinion. I would love for them to do for a recording an all acoustic show.
I'd be up to that. I would go and watch
Like
that. Is Iced Earth?
I'd be super into that.
I'd go and watch.
I would love for them to do an acoustic album.
What, like?
Sounds like they have just of some of their slower stuff.
That'd be cool.
Melancholy acoustic, you know.
I think stuff
Gene
like
did Written on the Walls acoustic, and it sounded amazing.
I reckon there's some certain heavy stuff that they could do, like the Dark Saga. They could do the Dark Saga as acoustic, like dun, 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 dun. Like they could do it. I reckon that could be done acoustically. And there's a lot of stuff off of Something Wicked, which is meant to be the focus of this episode,
right.
But we're going on tangents.
But I'll just say this about the Melancholy, and we'll move on. It was originally released 1,500 of these were released, and there was such a mine is signed by Larry Tarnowski.
Yours is signed there, yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah. There was 1,500 released, and there was such a demand, and that was actually one of the things I asked John at the first show where I met him. I was like, you know, I want to hear this Melancholy EP. This is before YouTube, where you could just. I said I got to hear that stuff, but it was so expensive. Even when it first came out, it was well over $60-$70. I was like, you've got to re-release that so we can get it. And Century Media did put it on their webpage to release. So I was very thankful when they re-released that, so that more than 1,500 of us could enjoy it. But back to Something Wicked.
Quick note. Those numbered copies are extremely hard to find. They're very hard to find. I don't know if I've ever seen them in the wild before. I've never seen them.
They show up on eBay occasionally, but you could tell the difference because they're priced probably 4 or 5 times higher.
And with obviously this is different. This has a gold logo, whereas the original just has a regular Iced Earth white logo on it. Kind of like the cassette that I've got. It's kind of more like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
I like the cassette. Anyway, do you want to go to our collections? Let's move on to our collections, sir. Something Wickeder. I'm guessing I've got more than you.
Something Wicked?
You told me.
Yes. I don't have the vinyl of this yet, so I just have the CD, signed by Larry Tarnowski also. This is one of the ones where I was so happy when they re-released their vinyls, because this years ago was easily well over $100 on vinyl, which the original pressing is still that expensive. So I started my vinyl collecting less than a year ago, so that's one of the few left that I don't have.
Since I've already got my Holy Grail in my collection, my next really kind of Holy Grail that I kind of would be my like Holy Grail Part 2 would be the original pressing of Something Wicked. It is on Discogs for about £85. So if I ever have that kind of money spare, I probably will pull the trigger on that if it's still up. So yeah, that's one of the really, really big things that I want is the original pressing, because it's my favorite album of all time. I need that in my life, you know. I've got the 2015 re-recording, like repressing. Sorry. I'm not going to take it out because it's black vinyl, so it's nothing special, Chuck. For the first time ever, it's just regular black. But I don't care, you know. It's nice to have coloured vinyl for the others, but when it comes to this, being on 180 gram black vinyl, it sounds amazing, and that's all I care about, because it's the best album ever made. So yeah, I've got that vinyl. Got that vinyl. I do have the t-shirt. I do think this is a reprint. I don't think it's the original. Yeah, I was gonna wear it, but I thought, I'll just show it off in the video. But yeah, it's one of my favorite Iced Earth t-shirts for sure. You got a t-shirt, or you'd not be able to grab?
I don't have a t-shirt. I do have this. When I went to the Something Wicked tour, it was at a small club, and I always usually try to bring a CD or something like that in case I get lucky enough to run into the band. Well, after I got there, I realized that I had forgot. I think at that point I only had Days of Purgatory, Something Wicked, and Dark Saga. I didn't have the other ones left, but I had left them at home, and I was so upset. So I had in America we have this magazine called Metal Edge, and they always had ads for new albums in it. So I ripped out the ad very carefully, and I was able to meet John and Matt and McDoug, and had them sign that, and I just got a Gene picture on there and John from early on. So I got this promo ad signed by those three on the tour, but I was so upset that I forgot the CDs at home.
Oh man!
So that's kind of a cool piece to my collection.
Next up, I want to show you this. Adam Ortiz, you are a dude for buying me this. I know we've both talked about it and how we are both kind of disappointed by its quality, but out of principle, the fact that a fan of the podcast bought me this is going to be going on my dedicated Iced Earth jacket. How could it not, man? Do you know what I mean? It
looks great quality from here.
It's Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it was bought for me, so it kind of has to go on my jacket out of principle. Like, I just feel like I need to. It can't not go on my jacket. So, it's good enough for me, man. Like, Adam, thanks for that. You're a fucking dude. I treasure this. This is going to be going on my jacket, man. Fucking yes.
Adam's great.
He's a dude, man. Like, all our fans are great, you know. We appreciate all our fans, but when a fan goes out of their way to really kind of show their appreciation for what we do by buying us stuff like that, that really makes us feel good and continue what we want to do. I've also got like a micro patch to go on my jacket as well. Now I got. Do you want to show? You've already showed off your CD. I have 2 copies. Yeah. Oh, I have 3 copies. So I've got the Slaves to the Dark, which I've already shown, but I've got the regular CD. It's the original 1998 pressing.
Nice.
And then I have the other CD. I'm going to take the sleeve out of this one because the rest of it doesn't matter. But this one is signed. Can you see that?
I sure can.
It's signed by the man himself, John Schaeferus. So yeah, that made my day. When he signed that, I almost shit myself. So, like, I was like a little child. Like, could you sign this for me, please, John? Please. He also signed my cassette version. Everybody knows on the group by now that I like my cassettes. So yeah. I tell you what, man. Well, this is the first cassette that I bought in my cassette collection, and I was extremely surprised how good it sounds. It sounds fucking great on cassette, which is surprising because a lot of the older cassettes that my parents have sound awful. I was really surprised of the quality of this specific cassette. Yeah, so he signed that as well. So all I need to do is get my vinyl signed, and then I have it all signed. Right. Speaking of getting stuff signed, this is probably a really special thing that I have, which I'm really happy. My friend gave this to me, and it's pretty awesome because it's quite a rare thing, and I want to get John to sign it, which is the Something Wicked promo CD.
Yes.
If you can't tell, I love this album too much.
Does that have all the songs on it, or is there anything missing off of that?
No, it has everything.
Okay.
There's the whole
I've
album.
seen that. I haven't got that yet.
This is the European version of the promo. There is a North American version that has the artwork on it. That is harder to find.
What's the disc look like?
It's quite a nice art. It's quite a nice disc. I quite like that. I quite like how that is. It's quite a nice little disc. But yeah, there's a North American promo that has the official artwork on, but that's even harder to find. So when it does pop up, it's quite expensive. But I need to get that at some point. But yeah, that's basically my collection as far as Something Wicked goes. So yeah,
nice.
Like I love this album too much.
Me too.
You can't tell.
So do you want to do a quick track by track?
We've talked.
We've already discussed Burning Times
quite extensively. Melancholy, Holy Martyr.
great track. I remember when it first came out, they did a very low budget kind of promo video for it, and I was so excited to get to see that on YouTube. I think Melancholy is great. I think it's catchy. I think
It's very
kind
like
of a
I feel
sing
like
along
yeah,
chorus.
and I think Matt's performance is very heartfelt as well.
Yeah,
Like he puts a lot of feeling in his delivery there,
yeah. His
and
tone just at the beginning of it just grabs you. It's very,
yeah,
very catchy. It's Disciples of the Lie. Very,
heavy
very good song.
heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
There's a bit in that song that I love where it kind of goes quiet, and then you've got this really halting keyboard. It's really
Uh-huh.
creepy.
I know the exact part you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that bit.
Again, there's no filler on this album at all.
Washing over me.
Very good track. Watching Over Me has really grown on me over the years. It's
Grown over you. Growing
grown on me.
over me. Oh, I know.
But
oh god.
I probably like that song better now than when it first came out.
I
I
heard
listened
that.
to it just last night.
I heard that
and
song
it just
on the Alive in Athens first,
okay.
and I thought it was fantastic. Sorry,
But it's a great track. Great track.
I cut you off. What was you going to say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just agreeing. It's a good. It's a tremendous track.
It means a lot
I
to
know
John. Obviously, people know it's dedicated to John's long-time friend who died in a motorcycle accident. Who also, as a fun fact, he coined the name Iced Earth. He suggested that to John, and out of tribute to his friend, John took that name. And then it took John. It's quite incredible. It took John all that time to really write a song dedicated to him. Bear in mind this guy, he died pre-Iced Earth, so that's a long time to actually write a song for somebody. But it's a fan favourite. I tell you, man,
for sure.
Probably the most emotional moment of that song that I've seen live is from 2016 when I saw them last year, and what was his name? Jake. Is it Jake? Jacob? Yeah, Jacob. Jake and Stu's friend, Adam Sagan, the drummer of Into Eternity, died of cancer, and they found out a day before the London show, and literally they closed with Watching Over Me, and Stu was literally like crying on stage, and it got to that bit where everybody band stopped playing, and the crowd, everyone was singing the chorus. It was the most heartwarming thing I've ever experienced. It was fucking incredible. And you had like Jake and Stu hugging and stuff, because obviously they lost their friend, and it was just so emotional. And there was electricity in the air. Do you know when you get that feeling? You feel like there's
Sure.
Yeah, it felt so powerful, and that was probably the greatest moment concerning that song, and just to show how powerful that song is.
I remember on the Dystopia tour seeing someone cry during that song. It's a very personal song to a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Because it can translate to anyone's loss. Sure. It is a song of loss, and tragedy, and like you can translate it to anybody in your life, be it anyone, be it your sister, be it your grandma, anybody. It's powerful, and that show that I just said really, really showcased how powerful that song is, and it's a fan favorite for a reason, and I think that's why. Another goes
Stand Alone.
Another heavy one that can get the crowd proper fucking chanting it.
Right.
Oh man.
Great riff, Just catchy, straight to the point, just straight to the point metal. That's just a straightforward rocker. It'd be a welcome addition.
Stand alone.
Welcome addition to any live song.
Stand alone. Stand alone. Stand alone. Save in the Sorry, I got carried away there.
Great song.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Consequences to me is the only. I know we disagree on this one. I like it. It just doesn't super move me.
Consequences for me is the sleeper hit of the album. It's the one song where it comes on and I'm like, this album is fucking. This song is fucking great. And Larry's solo is my favorite solo on the album. It's really good, you know. Yeah, I just feel that's if there was a deep cut on this album that I just want to hear live, it would be Consequences for sure. Because I just think it's, Joe. Like I felt kind of bad when I said to John on the interview that nobody talks about these deep cuts, but that's why they're deep cuts, is because they don't get talked about as much. And Consequences is definitely one of those, in my opinion.
My Own Saviour is back. I mean, just a classic. Just very catchy. Perfect song. Very heavy.
Yeah, that's what I like about this album. It jumps from breathing room to in your face to breathing room to in your face. Right. And that's what I like about it.
Now the next track, Reaping Stone, is my sleeper track. To me, that's the one that just is groovy, and then it gets heavy at the end. I love Reaping Stone. Just a great track.
Yeah. Like in preparation, when I was listening to this album for the 50th millionth time ever.
Like we needed preparation.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, listen to this album, and then it's weird because sometimes you forget how heavy a song is until you hear it again. Like Reaping Stone, when it gets heavy, it gets fucking heavy. It gets very heavy. Yeah, you know. That's really, I like that. It's a really good song.
So the next song, 1776, that's probably one of my all-time favorite instrumentals. I know we've talked about this before. It opened the show of Matt's last show.
Yeah.
And they played it.
Done a fine job. I thought 1776 leading into Berlin Times was a great way to open a show.
Right. I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think 1776 should be Iced Earth's kind of. Metallica has their Ecstasy of Gold that they play before every show. I love it. I think 1776 should be played right before they come out of every show. I think it's catchy. It's just, I love it. It's right. And it's also an early song. It's an old Purgatory song that they reworked. And that's another question we need to. We have Bill on here or John again. Why it took them so long to have that hit an album? Because I love it. But anyway, 1776 is great.
And did you notice? I'm guessing you sure did anyway. But right at the end of disc 2, Alive in Athens, after they finish Iced Earth, Matt goes, "Heavy fucking metal, right here." And they kick in. I think they play it over their speakers. They play 1776. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So they tend to keep close with it on that CD in particular. So yeah. Blessed Are You.
Blessed Are You is a really good, solid mid-tempo track.
Now, I have a question.
Okay.
Everybody pronounces it blessed here, but it's spelled to me as blessed.
Yeah, if
Because
I was reading it and didn't know it, I would say that this song is "Blessed Are You."
yeah.
But since I know how they sing it, it's one of those words that the in the English vocabulary that's could be pronounced a couple ways.
Yeah, of course. But
But
I remember when I first discovered the album and well, when I first heard the song on the Live in Athens, it was like I'd read it as "Blessed Are You," and I would tell people about it. I would say it like that rather than "Blessed," like the way it's meant to be said. Like, but you know, funny English.
it it's a really good solid track. It's kind of a sleeper also. Doesn't get a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
attention 'cause it's surrounded by so many great songs,
it was
but
really
it's definitely not skippable
again. It was really good to see it be brought out live again recently.
for the Plagues. Yeah, I was very
Yeah, it was
pleased when
really
that
cool.
was brought out to the Plagues. So
It
that
was
takes
really
us to the final three,
oh my god. Oh no.
right? Um, you know what? I kind of lump them all into one song because I can never just listen to one.
Yeah, because it's like
So
because prophecy ends with the clock like
right, I love that. Love that.
oh man, it's so epic, man. Fucking hell.
Um, Matt's vocals on this trilogy is just tremendous, just great.
It's just
Like you said,
it's his defining record for me. But then again, I'm biased 'cause it's my favorite album. So
right. Like you said, the little ambiances of the clock and the
yeah.
piano intro is just perfect, and it just makes it's a perfect way to close out an album. Just
I
I
just
can't
like
imagine anybody listening to this that haven't heard it.
I just like the way Matt sings some parts. You know, I see clearly now the painful vision it seemed. You know that kind of stuff. Like that. It's just the way he sings certain parts. And my favorite part of Coming Curse is so fucking good, man. Oh man.
But definitely, it's a great closeout. Like I said, brag, brag. I got to see it 2 times live on the Something Wicked tour, sung by Matt. You didn't, but it's great to hear live. It was a welcomed, it was great on Alive in Athens. I hope they bring it back soon. I understand that you can't always bring back big 20-minute epics, but
The way I see when it concerns the Something Wicked trilogy, I think John might just be a bit burnt out because bear in mind they were promoting 2 albums back to back with the Something Wicked story. So he played that. I think they played that at every show. I think they closed every show with it, with Tim and Matt on those runs. And I think just maybe a case of like okay, that chapter's done. This put those songs back in the vault for a little while. That's what I think John's thinking. I
yeah.
think because
And there's been some shorter festival shows where they've brought out just one of them also.
yeah, I've seen that.
So, which I mean, it doesn't sound like it's missing or anything. You don't feel deprived, but it's still good to hear it, whether it's one standalone song or all 3 of them.
Yeah,
So this is an album that definitely was a great time for the band. You go into Athens, and then that'll take us to our next chapter. I think they keep rolling. This isn't a one and done great hit wonder. They come strong next time too.
oh yeah,
Which I can't wait to get into that too later.
yeah,
So
man. Like it's one of those albums, like especially the late '90s. New metal was on the rise, and you had bands like Linkin Park, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Korn, really kind of like exploding in popularity. But then you just have Iced Earth, who are just making a true to self, heavy fucking metal album in Something Wicked, sticking to their guns, not falling into trends. And that's what I love about this band is that they don't just because of certain trends, has a lot of money behind it. John and the band stick to what they want to do. They stick to their own vision. Like he says, he's been chasing the just vision for years. You know,
Right.
he stuck to his vision and he sticks to that template of traditional heavy fucking metal. And that's what I feel this album really proves, that in the fact that, like I said, nu metal was on the rise and the band didn't fall into that. You know, they kept to their focused vision and they created one of the best albums ever made.
It was also a lot of people's introduction to Iced Earth. Right around that time, it seems like that Dark Saga was a lot of people's first hear. I know Richard from the group commented that he was really into Metallica at the time, and then a friend of his turned him on to Something Wicked, and it was all over after that. But yeah, it was my second album that I heard. I heard it on the same day as I heard Dark Saga, so taking in those two albums together, it was definitely like, these guys are special.
I think
for sure.
Something Wicked for me was probably the sixth record that I owned, because I had the Dark Genesis box set, which had the first three records. Then I bought Days of Purgatory. Then I bought Alive in Athens, which introduced me to the Something Wicked material. And then off of the back of that, I bought Something Wicked, and fucking changed my life, man. Now, some people say to you, like, how does a music album change your life? Well, I don't know. It's just the power of music. You can't put into words how it changed your life. It just does. It's the power of music. It moves you. You connect with things. Especially with Washing Over Me. There's a personal song of loss there, and I think that's something everybody experiences. Everybody experiences loss, and I think that's what's powerful about that song, and I think that's what really that's what's powerful about music, is that people relate. Can say like Burning Times, I can what grabs me for Burning Times might be different for what grabs you to Burning Times. Right. Everyone's going to have a different experience with certain things. I just feel that like this album changed my life, and this really did cement me as, like, this album cemented Iced Earth as my favourite band from this point forwards. Like, in a big way. I loved them before this album, but I really fucking loved them when I heard this one. So, and that hasn't changed.
Nice.
So yeah, Something Wicked, This Way Comes.
Something Wicked.
My favourite album of all time. My favourite Iced Earth album. And an album, I would say, an album that everybody should listen to. Even if you're not into metal, I think it's an album. It's accessible enough that it could really, cater to a lot of people.
Right. If you like ballads, there's a couple ballads on there. You like straightforward, just heavy songs. But there's definitely something on there for everybody.
Hell, if you're a fan of music, you deserve to to treat yourself to this record. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up for today, do you have any other closing thoughts or anything you want to talk about?
There's a piece of news that have come out recently. Iced Earth has announced their support bands for the world tour. Yes. Which is Freedom Call and Metaprism. I can't say that I know Metaprism, but I do indeed know Freedom Call.
Okay.
Do you know those bands at all, Chuck?
I am not familiar with either of them.
Well, all I can say about is Freedom Call are a German power metal band. Very fun, very cheesy. They're all about having fun. They're very kind of tongue in cheek. Not in their music, but in the way they perform live. They're very like, you guys having fun, all that. They're a good laugh live. They're good. They're fun live. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good support band to have, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It should be good.
Do you think that they will have them on the American leg?
Well, it's the world tour, so I'm guessing so.
Okay.
They've been announced for the world tour, so I would.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I
I thought
don't
it
know
was
for
just a one
sure.
leg.
I don't know.
Maybe I read it wrong. I thought it was just a one leg. But to
I
me, it
could
doesn't
be.
matter.
I could be wrong. Whatever, you know.
They could have nobody. They could have a band. It doesn't matter to me.
There are 2 dates in Athens don't have no support bands. It's just Iced Earth. I don't understand why.
Alive in Athens too. I think how they play so long.
Well, they play longer shows in Athens.
That just seems like they did. I don't know. Or maybe they just grab a local band last moment. I don't know.
Weird.
So.
Oh yeah, I just wanna do a quick thing. I know I've thanked him for this already, but I'm just gonna do it officially. Gene Adam, thank you for this. Again, you're a dude. You're such a nice guy. I appreciate this. I haven't listened to it yet, but I will do. I promise. Yeah, thanks for the support, dude. Thanks for letting John know about the podcast and spreading us around and stuff. It's been awesome. You're awesome. Thanks, Gene.
Yeah, I talked to Gene not that long ago, and he said they're not done. They're going to be recording a couple more tracks soon. So
nice.
Definitely, we'll keep everybody updated as those become available. That's a very good CD. I have the first copy, but I've already said that before.
Aren't you lucky?
But yeah, just want to thank everybody for everything. The group's going very well. Our subscribers grow every week. If you're watching this and you like it, subscribe. Join our group, Podcast in Stone. Look us up on Facebook. A lot of cool stuff and old pictures and just people celebrating the band. Really, all lineups are celebrated.
There's no wrong answer.
Stu. There's no wrong answer. Everybody loves everybody. I mean, that's one of my favorite things about Iced Earth. Some people say that, the lineup changes can be bad. I love having 5 different voices to hear, and 6 if you include the songs that John sings.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a good mixture.
Hell, like we're talking about this yesterday off air, and like you were saying how if you look up how people rank the albums on YouTube, you have a vast array of different lists, don't you? You were talking to me about, there's one in particular that kind of caught your eye where their least favourite was a debut, but their favourite was Framing, which is quite interesting because personally I don't really rate Framing very highly, but that's just me. But they're not wrong. That's the thing. Like Iced Earth should be enjoyed any way that you feel that you enjoy them. If you love the Gene stuff, great. If you love the John Greedy stuff, great. Don't forget John Greedy. He was on Storm Rider. If you love the Matt stuff, which 90%, I would like to think 90% of Iced Earth fans all have a special place in their heart for the Matt stuff. You're not wrong. If you really enjoyed what Tim done, with Glorious and Framing, again, you're not wrong. There's no wrong answer here. And again, if you love, because that's the thing as well you've got to think about, right? I do believe the Stu era ushered in a lot of new fans, and there's fans that have only heard the Stu stuff. Do you know what I mean? So there's probably new fans that see the Stu stuff as like gospel, and that is their favourite.
Right. And with the news that we got from John that they're going to be doing re-recordings of old albums,
man,
I think that's
fucking hell, that was some.
I can't wait for that.
That was a bombshell. That really was.
That was huge for me. I had hoped for something. I was hoping for like a Days of Purgatory 2, where like maybe a couple songs from each album, but I'll take a whole album by Stu redoing. Yes, please.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna have my worries because as a fan, you're always gonna be worried, but especially how this came out. I don't want another one of them. You know what I mean? So I'm a bit. Yeah. I'm excited, but I'm still quite worried about it as well. But going by Incorruptible and the production job on that, and how Stu sounded on that, I've just got a feeling that this might be quite special. You know, especially when you consider how good the Dante's Inferno recording was as well. I know there's a few people that really don't like that recording, but I love that Stu.
Yeah, I love it.
So we're think that's the thing. I'm worried, but then my brain tells me John's gonna have 100% control over this. So I reckon he's gonna make something special. It's gonna be special for us, you know.
For sure.
It's gonna be great.
I look forward to hearing more news about that.
Hell yeah, man.
So.
We've got a couple of years to wait though. So, you know.
Oh wait.
We've got Demons and Wizards before that.
We got Demons and Wizards, Incorruptible still fresh. We got the tour dates coming from the US soon. So we've got a lot going on.
John Schaefer's a fucking busy guy, man. He's got a lot of stuff going
on.
But we appreciate all the work he does, man. He's a fucking dude.
Yeah, it's not for naught. I can't wait for Demons and Wizards. US tour dates, please. I don't think it's going to happen, but
yeah,
I could dream. Of course, a lot of people's Iced Earth fantasy booking is a Blind Guardian Iced Earth Demons and Wizards show. I wish they would do it just once. I think it would be a huge world tour.
Or it'd be Sons of Liberty, Demons and Wizards, Blind Guardian, Iced Earth.
Yes, please.
That'd be amazing.
They'd have to. I don't know whether they'd have to somewhat limit Blind Guardian show because Hansi would have to sing 2 sets. Not that it's not hard to play guitar for 2 sets. I'm sure it is, but But anyway, that's dream booking.
Everybody, thank you for watching the podcast.
Absolutely.
I've been Jason. I've been joined, like always, with my co-host Chuck Hoskins. It's always great to do this podcast with you, man.
Jason, enjoy the time. Stay tuned. Keep rocking out.
Metal lives, brother. Metal lives. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Until next time, we'll be digging into the Horror Show album. Until then, take care. See you later.